Okay. All right, thanks for coming, everyone. And yeah, more people might show up. I know the weather's a little rough today, but yeah, I appreciate you guys making the trek in. So my name's Ashley Howatt, if you don't already know me. I'm a CHEK practitioner and holistic lifestyle coach, which means I've trained under the CHEK Institute, and I do personal training and health coaching and help people with pain and injury, and help people prevent pain and injury through scientific program design to help you stay safe with your exercise. So today's topic is ironically not a big focus of mine, but it ties into my concepts of health and fitness. So the topic is beyond the calorie story, because a lot of people do work out because they want to lose weight. I would not call myself a weight loss coach. Weight loss to me is more of a side effect of what I do. I've just found when weight loss is the main goal, it just doesn't go so well. If health is the main goal, or life experience is the main goal, I find the weight loss will come kind of naturally as we instill the principles of health. That's kind of how I go about it. And in terms of the calorie story, I've just honestly not seen that work for most people. It works for some people, you know, calories in, calories out, caloric deficit, obviously bodybuilders, fitness models, boxers, these kinds of people that have to make weight, like that's one of their main avenues to do that. And that's cool. But I don't work with those people generally. I work more with just, you know, regular people who aren't into those sports or those activities. And yeah, I've just not seen it work. And you know, if we had 100 women in here and you asked how many of them have tried, and men too, have tried the calorie in, calorie out formula and it's not worked. Yeah, you'll get some people who cheat and lie and they're over consuming and whatnot, for sure. But there's way more to the story. And if it was so simple, we'd have a lot more results. Like you would just need some discipline. You would just need to go burn the calories and eat less, and then it would work. And then a lot more people would have results, but that's not what we see. So I could talk about this, my notes from yesterday on this, for a very, very long time. And I did film a 90-minute webinar on this called Holistic Approach to Weight Loss. So any of you that are here watching today, you can, if you choose, you can have access to that for free. I'll give you a sign-up sheet later. This is normally a fee for that, comes with a PDF. And so if things go over your head today or you don't kind of remember everything I said, you can have access to the 90-minute version that I filmed a few years ago. But yeah, besides how much you eat, we have to look at the big picture. So, but does anyone have any, I'm just curious what you guys think. What else could be determining weight gain or stubborn weight loss that is beyond calories? Anyone have any thoughts? Genetics?
Insulin resistance.
Insulin resistance? Menopause. And those two things have what in common? Hormones, right. That's a big one in my world, is hormones. And what affects hormones? Your lifestyle. And what's probably the biggest driver of in your lifestyle that affects hormones is stress. And then we have to look at, well, what kind of stress? There's actually all types of different stress. Most people think, you know, if we talk about stress, they think psychological stress. You know, stress from work, stress in relationships, stress about the world. But that's just one type of stress. It's a big one, but there's also nutritional stress. So yes, how much you are eating is important. I'm not saying it's not important. It is definitely important. You know, if you're eating 500 calories, you're eating 5,000 calories, you're going to get different results there, right? It's going to affect you. But beyond that, it's also what are you eating, right? The quality of the food. Is it whole foods versus processed foods? Is it organic? Is it not organic and full of, chemicals that cause weight, like Roundup? Like, it specifically can cause you to gain weight. And unfortunately, it's all throughout our food supply. And no one's really talking about that. So I like to focus on chemicals more than calories. Also, when you eat. This ties into the hormone topic because it ties into blood sugar regulation and insulin sensitivity. And then beyond that is food timing in terms of circadian rhythm. And this is, again, another topic not a lot of health coaches and personal trainers are talking about, but it's starting to grow, is the importance of circadian rhythm. And so when you eat could be even more important than how much you're eating, because it affects your blood sugars and it affects your hormones, right? And I would say people are learning this a little bit, but maybe they don't know it as that term, circadian rhythm, but you've probably heard of fasting or intermittent fasting. That's kind of become a big thing in the past 5 or so years. And there's different thoughts on how to do intermittent fasting. I work mostly with women, and I would say women and men need different things for all sorts of reasons, on all sorts of topics, and fasting is one of them. So I'm more of a believer of fasting in the evening and not fasting in the morning for women. Men seem to do better, doesn't seem to matter as much. They're just, because men's hormones are more steady, right? So stress on their hormones doesn't jack up their blood sugars and insulin and all that as much. And they have a 24-hour hormonal clock. Women have a 28-day hormonal clock. So it's so different. So everything is different. How the effects of exercise, the effects of food, the effects of sleep. So circadian rhythm is impacted by when you eat and light. So lights, sunlight versus man-made lights, LED lights versus incandescent lights. This is a huge thing that, again, is not being talked about, partly because it's kind of newish and it takes 20, 30 years for stuff and research to get out to the mainstream. I forget what year it was. Like, not too long ago, they discovered leptin. So has anyone heard of leptin? Yeah. So leptin is above insulin in terms of its importance, of like a hierarchy system. Like, so most people have heard about insulin and have maybe heard about cortisol and have heard about some of these hormones, but I don't hear people talking about leptin as much. So leptin's at the top, and it kind of dictates the rest of the hormones below. And leptin is most informed by light. So your light diet, in my opinion, could be way more important than your food diet. And I don't have time to go into all those details today, but that is part of my Flow Foundation's health program. So my private clients get access to Flow Foundations, which is an online coaching program where I talk about the foundations of healthy living, thinking, breathing, moving, sleep, nutrition, hydration, and also flow, which is fascia health, light, your light environment, oxygen, we get into breathing, and then water from not the water you're drinking, but the water inside your body, the structured water in your body. Again, that's a whole other giant topic. So your light environment and circadian rhythm is really driving a lot of our hormonal cascades. And then your hormones can be driving your body weight, your body shape. So that's something to just plant a little seed into you to start thinking about. And to keep it simple, give you a couple powerful tips. If you have, we all have phones now. We all have phones, we all have computers, we all have TVs. Try not to be on them right before bed. But if you are, like all of us, including myself, you can invest in special glasses blue blocker glasses. Now there's a lot of crappy brands out there pretending to be good ones. I would only recommend Viva Rays or Raw Optics. And they have daytime ones for if you're like on the computer a lot, and then they have nighttime ones. And the nighttime ones, if they're orange, you would put them on sundown. If they're red, you put them on like an hour before bed. If you have trouble falling asleep, just get a pair of those red blue blockers. You will start yawning after like 10 minutes you put those on. It's phenomenal because the light, it's like code. Not that I know computer stuff, but you know, like how computers work, someone writes code and it tells the computer what to do. Light is telling our body what to do. It's telling our brain, it's telling our muscles, our fat, you know, what hormones to produce, in what order, and what timing, and all of that. So when you take away the blue light by putting on the red glasses, your body's like, oh, it's nighttime. I should start revving up melatonin and start decreasing cortisol, two hormones that are inversely related, and make you sleepy. And then in the morning, the best thing you can do, which is a little challenging, living here in Canada, it's easier. I have a client down in Barbados where sunrise is the same time every day for the whole year, but to see sunrise every morning before you see your phone. Get your naked eyes on the naked sky. So if it's cold like yesterday, you don't want to go outside at 7:30 a.m., just open the window. I go in my bathroom, I open my window, I do a little mini squat, and I just stare out the window like a weirdo for like 3 minutes just to get the natural light in my eyes, and then shut it, and then put my glasses back on, and then I'll check my phone, right? So I know it sounds a little weird, but it's powerful stuff. So that's kind of one big aspect, is circadian rhythm and your light environment. And then there's flow. And I'm probably already over time because I talk a lot. But there's no one else here, so we're good. Okay. So flow, like I said, fascia, light, oxygen, water. But the unifying kind of theme there is, in my opinion, also stole this from Paul Chek, the purpose of exercise is to pump fluids through the body. It's not to burn calories. That's not what I believe. It's to pump fluids through the body. Because if your fluids aren't moving, you're not going to live very long, right? Like, that's why you have a heart, to move your blood. Although your heart doesn't pump the blood. But again, that's another topic. The purpose of exercise is to move fluids. And if you are not moving fluids and you're not moving energy, things can get stuck. Things can get backed up. This can look like weight. So, as an example, if you don't have good flow of your GI tract, so you're not emptying your bowels every day regularly, if you have issues with your kidneys or your bladder, you have urination problems, if you don't sweat because you don't work out or you don't go to a sauna or you avoid the sun, you're missing out on a way to detox. If you don't breathe well, that's another way to detox as well. If you live a certain lifestyle and are hard on your liver, which could be, drugs, alcohol, pharmaceutical drugs is a big one people don't think about, but all those pharmaceutical drugs got to get processed through the liver. But also sugar, high fructose corn syrup in particular, is super hard on the liver. So if your liver is already under stress, and then, you've got other insults coming into the body, sugar, alcohol, pharmaceuticals, and then just all the crap in our life, microplastics and pesticides and herbicides and these things, you can start to have a backup in the system where you're not eliminating the toxins well enough, and even just your own metabolic waste. Like just living, your body produces waste that it has to deal with and get rid of. So if you start backing up with waste in the body, it's got to go somewhere. So if it's a fat-soluble waste or fat-soluble toxin, it's going to go in fat tissue. If you don't have enough fat tissue, your body's going to make more. because it needs a storage unit. It's like a garbage can, a temporary garbage can, right? If it goes on long enough, it forms into a tumor. And that's what I believe cancer is. It's a garbage can of toxins put into one little packet. Topic for another day. I have lots of topics. So if you're not having proper flow, this can build up into fat. It could also build up into water, because not all toxins are fat soluble. Some are water soluble. So that can build up as water weight. Someone gets kind of puffy and squishy, and or has swelling in the legs in particular. That's excess waste and toxins in the fluid, in the interstitial fluid, which is like, we'll say it's in the fascia. Dr. Perry Nicholson, he's a chiropractor, phenomenal guy. He's amazing. If you're on Instagram, you can follow him and follow me, hopefully. He's on YouTube. His brand or whatever, Stop Chasing Pain. So he had autoimmune problems, he had weight problems, he had pain problems, and he was helping people with those things as well. And it led to him finding about the lymphatic system. And he figured out this little routine he calls the Big Six, where he does a massage of the Big Six lymph nodes in a particular order. And he tested this when he was learning it. And that's all he did. That was the only thing he changed. And he lost 30 pounds in 30 days. Just by doing a 5-minute self-massage in a specific order, targeting specific lymph nodes. He lost 30 pounds of water weight, basically. And that's why he was puffy, because his body had an excess of toxins, which we often call inflammation. Well, why is there inflammation? Because you have too much crap in your body, like literally. So that's one example. Another example is this lady, I don't know her, but I listened to her on a podcast. You may have heard this story. She lost 100 pounds, didn't change her diet, didn't change her exercise. What she did do, she started doing an hour of blocking a day. Blocking is like a specific technique of trigger point release, kind of like foam rolling, but it's a bit different, and it's called blocking because you use these blocks of wood with rounded corners. So she did this method of laying on these blocks for like an hour a day to do the whole body, and lost over 100 pounds. So tell me where the calorie story is in that. She didn't change her diet, didn't change her exercise, and just sat on this wooden block for an hour, different parts of her body, and lost 100 pounds. That's because she was improving flow, improving the detoxification, improving blood flow so nutrients can get into the body, improving, again, detoxification so waste can get out. Also, with people like that, there's a lot of emotional stuff. And the emotional stuff can get trapped in your fascia. So when you do trigger point release, it can release emotions, and that can release a lot of excess weight, right? So there's so many factors beyond the calories. And those are just a few that I wanted to mention today. Many more I could talk about, but I think I've probably overwhelmed you enough for today. So any questions, comments on everything?
So yeah, the emotional release thing, it sounds weird, but I know several people that they'll say, oh, I went to this acupuncturist, I went to this massage therapist, and then I just started crying all of a sudden. I don't know why. It's never happened to me, and I go to these problems all the time, but I know several people that, so it's like, okay, there's something there. I did have a question about how you kind of decide whether, like I work with a lot of clients, a lot of them on weight loss, and some of them, pretty obvious that they're not really following the diet that they should be, the plan, so they'll admit it or they'll half admit it, or they're just not really aware that they're snacking. Others, it's like, I think they're trying really hard, but there might be something going on where they're just not getting where they should be. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of figure out like which case that might be?
Yeah. So with what I was talking about earlier with the stress, right? There's different forms of stress. I went off tangent, forgot to go back to that. Psychological stress, nutritional stress, chemical stress, EMF stress, physical stress, like working out is a stress on your body. But ties into that, I find the psychological stress. So if someone has, like the people that are just, like I've had many clients over the years who would just refuse to do like a food log. They're just like, nope, I'm not doing that. Like, okay, well then I can't help you with your food because I don't know what you're eating. So, and they were like, that's fine. I'm like, okay. But I didn't have the tools I have now then. I could have helped them more with like teaching them about their light environment as an example, or lymphatics or fascia. I didn't know this stuff then. But that's where you get into, food psychology and why is someone eating food, right? So I kind of went over, yes, how much you eat is important, but also what you're eating, the quality of your food, when you're eating it. If you're eating breakfast versus not eating breakfast, if you're eating 2 meals a day versus 7 meals a day, like those things matter. But the why you're eating is important, yes. And for some people, it's very much tied in with their emotions and trauma, and it doesn't really matter how much discipline they attempt to have if you don't get to that root issue, right? And that's not my specialty, is like addictions and food addictions. But I do know someone who does work with that, Ellie Steele, although that's not her main thing right now. But so for those people that are just like either not wanting to change their diet, or you feel they're maybe not being totally truthful, I would just go another route. I would go, okay, well you've told me you want to lose weight and you're not, super keen on what I'm telling you from a nutrition side of view, and we're doing great with our exercise, cool, but there's some other ways we can address this. Like, can we work on food timing? Can we work on, and like try different types of fasting, right? Can we work on circadian rhythm? What time are you going to bed? What time are you waking up? Are you using blue blockers? Do the big 6 every day. Take 5 minutes, do the big 6 every day. It could be life-changing. Go watch those videos, go read the comments. This stuff's life-changing for people. For weight loss or pain, which can be connected. And the emotional thing is interesting, eh? I used to be like, that's nonsense. I used to think a lot of what I'm talking about now is nonsense back in the day when I just didn't know a lot of what I've learned since. I've never had that experience either, but I've met many people who've had that experience. They're like, I was in this yoga class and we did this one move and all of a sudden I just couldn't stop crying. Or they were in a massage session and the massage therapist was working on a certain area and all of a sudden they had some flashback or something and they're just like blubbering baby and they're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. It's like, well, that's called an emotional release, because your emotions get stored in your water body and in particular areas of the body. And this is where you can get into like Chinese medicine, right? Like the liver is connected to anger. So if you're working on the liver and release some stuff there, you could have some anger energy flow through you, which is probably good as long as you don't hurt someone. But it's better than it being stored in there, right? And like festering, right? The lungs are grief. The kidneys are fear. Like, I'm not an expert in Chinese medicine. I just know kind of some of these maps, right? They're pretty interesting for sure. So that's this lady. She's a typical fibromyalgia kind of person. In my opinion, most fibromyalgia people, it's an overflowing stress bucket for many, many years, often from repressed emotional issues and trauma. And the body's trying to get their attention by giving them pain all the time, and no specific pain that they can approach. It's more systemic because it's a deeper problem.
What was the name of the chiropractic doctor? Or does the
Dr. Perry Nicholson. Stop Chasing Pain is his handle. Yeah. I share his stuff all the time on Instagram and in my Patreon group as well. So if you like kind of what I'm talking about, I have, so obviously I do private personal training, and I'll be offering semi-private training here as well. And I have my online Flow Foundations program. My private clients get access to that, but you don't have to be a private client to access that. You'll just have to pay to access it. So it comes with 2 classes a week. One is like a group coaching, health coaching class. The other is a health class where I teach on something like today. And then all of that is put into my Patreon membership, which is like a resource hub for all of the things I teach and share. So content that I've created, and then content from other people like Dr. Perry that I think is useful. And I want to put it all in one spot instead of, podcasts over here and YouTube over here and Instagram over here and a blog over here. I'm like trying to put it all in one spot for myself and for my clients and whoever else is part of that group. Yeah. Any other questions? No, we're all good?
I like what you were saying about everything.
Cool. I like it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything in particular?
Well, I just think that it's everything is related, and if we don't care, if we don't take care of things, then we're going to get sick. So that's really the bottom line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't mind having your business card if you have one.
I do.
And I
yeah,
missed
they're
your
my bag.
introduction, so I don't know what your background is.
Yeah, so I'm a Czech practitioner. So I've studied under Paul Chek's, the Czech Institute, which is a multidisciplinary institute where they teach us holistic lifestyle coaching. Very holistic. If you like what I'm talking about, you'd probably like, or in my style, you'd like Paul's style, because he's, I'm similar to him, I should say. He is very holistic, very big picture, very long-winded, like myself. So I've been studying his work for over 12, 13 years. Before that, I did my human kinetics degree at St. FX.
Yeah, I noticed you're
I got into personal training, and that's how I found Paul Chek and started going to his sessions at the CanFit Pro conference in Toronto, and was blown away because this dude was crazy and interesting and so different from all the other classes that were going on there. And I've just been slowly doing his courses because they are comprehensive and expensive. So I've done IMS 3, Integrated Movement Science Level 3. There's 5 levels, and Holistic Lifestyle Coaching, I've done 2, and there's 3 levels there.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So people who do Czech can kind of specialize in different areas. I have difficulties saying I specialize in anything. I'm more of a jack of all trades. But I do like the kind of just health aspect, helping people get healthy naturally and holistically, and also my kind of physical rehab side of things. So helping people with back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, etc., and using lifestyle practices and exercise to do that. And then just helping people get fit and to prevent pain and injury.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yes, I do have business cards. I'll grab them out of my bag. And if anyone, half of you already have my contact info, and I have yours. But if you don't,